Thank you guys so much for your time today. We'll start with some introductions. Can you tell me a little bit about you and your business?
Sure. My name is Mike Knaisch, and
I'm Kim.
It's my wife, Kim. And we're owners of two different businesses here. We have Lakeland Athletic Club, which is formerly CrossFit Lakeland. We rebranded a little over a year ago for the gym-wise, and then up front where we are sit right now is Lakeland Cryo and Recovery. The gym is 12 years old, and this business here is 3 years old.
3 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How long have you guys been in this location?
2 years? 3?
It's been 2 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. And tell me a little about the rebrand. What was the reason for the rebrand? If you don't mind sharing.
No, not at all. Love to. So a lot of reasons. Main reason was that we offer so much more than just the typical CrossFit class that a lot of people are really familiar with. Mm-hmm. And so we have a couple different other style classes. We also have personal training, personalized programming, which is where our coaches will write programs for individuals and actually email them the programs with video attachments, and they can do those workouts from anywhere in the world at any time. So we have that. At the time, pre-COVID, we had yoga classes as well too. We're about to, this is breaking news. We're about to launch a kids program coming in the new year, so we're pretty excited about that. Our Coach Andrew, is heading that. So long story short, just we offer so much more than just your typical CrossFit class. And to be the bigger picture reason was that we wanted to separate ourselves from other CrossFit style gyms. Just by saying, hey, we do offer these many other amenities, including a full service recovery spa and suite in the front as well.
Yeah, which is, I know, huge for athletes.
Right.
Having that all in one spot, I'm sure, is really beneficial.
Correct, yeah.
So kind of going back to what you mentioned about COVID, how has COVID impacted your business and how you do things? Can you talk to us a little bit about how you've had to maybe pivot your strategy a little bit?
Yes, COVID has definitely impacted us. We've seen our revenues drop about 25%. We were closed for 2.5 months, but we did have members that stuck with us, and Mike and the team quickly pivoted to make sure that we had workouts for our athletes at home. We actually let them rent out our equipment to where they could just take it home and they would do all their workouts at home.
That's huge. Yeah, I know me personally, I'm not, by any means a professional bodybuilder, but I do like my exercise, and when gyms shut down, that was really hard. I had to find new ways to work out at home. It presented a unique challenge that I'm sure most businesses can say that they all faced, and our members were receiving daily workouts, and they continue to this day, that they are able to do at home. So during that time, like Kim said, we loaned out equipment. So if you agreed to stay on board with us and support us through COVID, they were able to come here, check out some equipment that they would need. And these home workouts require very, very limited equipment, maybe a pair of dumbbells and very small space. So you could do it
some bands and
anytime,
stuff like
anywhere.
That type of work. Yeah, the basic stuff.
Right. And we still have members that are still not comfortable being in a gym setting yet. And we completely understand that. So we still offer, like I said, to this day, there's at-home workouts that they can do. That we give them.
And you mentioned that was something you guys started offering kind of post-COVID, or maybe like expanded that program during COVID. Did you foresee having to do that anytime in your future? I know COVID kind of accelerated some plans.
I think that you had plans to do so.
Yes.
They weren't really for all of our members to work out at home. So, but he did have some plans. It just sped up the process a lot. And we also, since we've come back to work, or since he's come back and people have come back to the gym, he's taken, they sectioned off 6 foot spaces for everybody to work out in. Every space has cleaning supplies and all of the equipment that they're going to need in order to work out for the day.
Yeah, safely.
Yes, exactly. And we clean, or they clean in between every class.
Yeah.
We have 5,000 square feet, and we also put a cap on the classes to where it's 12 people per class, which provide. There's plenty of space.
That's great.
Yeah, so there's a reservation process now, so you had to reserve a spot in class. And we did that originally to control the numbers, but now it's not so much the numbers, now it's more about contact tracing.
Sure.
So if a member calls us up and says, hey, you know what, I just tested positive, or I was exposed, then we can go back and see what time and what days they were in here and who they were around. And you know, we can email or call those members and say, hey, we don't name any names, and say, hey, someone in your class or was in the gym at the same time as you, just monitor your symptoms, and we go from there.
That's super responsible. That's not something I've heard a whole lot of people doing, but that's great, going that extra step, make your clients feel safe.
Yes, and we've been pretty fortunate. So we haven't had.
Gyms are not the super spreaders
yes,
that,
exactly.
that the media portrays.
I 100% believe if you are exercising and taking care of your physical health anyway, like it's good for your immune system. I feel like you're less likely to get sick.
Correct.
Right, and if you do get sick, you're most likely going to recover quickly.
Right, definitely. So COVID's been one kind of bump in the road or one obstacle, but I'm sure there have been plenty of others kind of along the way.
Yes.
As business owners, what would you say is maybe one of the most challenging parts of owning your own business? You can each answer if you have different answers.
There's a lot of ups and downs, so I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, I would say, you know, I could say just personally for us in terms of the gym, the most challenging part is not always been getting people to come into the gym and join. It's keeping them retention. So it's a retention thing, and you're constantly trying to pivot and figure out what people want and what's going to keep them here and engaged. And so we're always trying, you know, new and different things to try to, you know, meet those challenges. So the retention has always been the number one, I don't want to say issue, but priority for us is trying to figure out ways to keep people. Yeah, long term, you know, because we're not in this for the 6-week challenge before I get married and I got to fit into a suit or a dress. It's like, no, we're into this for years, years and years of health. Like, I want people to do what they're doing today, 20, 30, 40 years from now, still doing the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're not into like the contractual agreements, getting the monthly fees from them anyway. You want to see the
right. We want to see them come in.
Yeah, way more personal here. So that's been the biggest challenge. And then when you're checking retention, and what's interesting about Lakeland is that it's a bit seasonal here, and we're kind of more of a family-oriented gym style place. So we almost operate on the school schedule.
Calendar, yeah.
Yeah, so like holiday season and summertime, a little slower. And then we get, September, October, busy, February, March, real busy. So when school's back in session and things are going. So that's been an interesting part.
Lots of families in Lakeland then, huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
People with kids.
Yes, and they travel a lot over the summer and during the holidays and
sports seasons and all that.
That stuff goes on the back burner.
That is interesting. I don't know if we've talked about seasonality with other business owners, but that's a good point.
It definitely happens here, and also I would say that Lakeland's a bit territorial as well too, meaning sometimes convenience, location will trump however good or awesome you are.
People won't drive from the north side.
Yes,
to the
it's
south
so
side.
crazy.
Yeah.
It's so crazy.
There's a reason why there's a Publix and 7-Eleven like every 2 or 3 miles.
Yes.
Smart move by those guys.
I mean,
it's true.
I don't even know when was the last time you went all the way to the north side. I mean, seriously.
Oh yeah. I mean,
I do, but
no, it is. It's true. When I first moved to Lakeland, I thought that was the funniest thing ever. I moved here in 2015, and I thought it was so crazy. People, I don't want to drive to the south side. I don't want to drive to the north side. I'm like, it's 25, 30 minutes.
25 minutes, exactly.
I grew up in big cities. 25, 30 minutes was to go to school, to go to work, to
Me
go to
too.
everything.
Yeah.
But now I've lived in Lakeland for a few years, and now I'm like, I don't want to.
You're spoiled. You realize it. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I don't want to go downtown. Yeah.
Yes, me too. When I grew up, it was 25, 30 minutes out the door, anywhere you went. You already knew you were in it for 30 minutes.
Where
But
was it that you grew up?
Buffalo, New York.
Okay.
Yeah, so not a super big city, but still, it's pretty spread out.
Yeah.
But yeah, if anything longer than 10 minutes away from your house around here is like, oh, you really second guess it, So yeah.
So kind of going back to your roots and how you started, tell me a little about how you two met and how you started this business together.
Well, we met at Molly's on the night before Thanksgiving. Goodness. He asked me to come meet his family a few weeks into us dating, and after that, it was...
It's like lightning.
Yeah, exactly. We got engaged about 9 months later, I guess, and then married the following year. So
I think I had been living here for maybe 2 years.
2 years, I
when
think.
I met you.
Yeah,
yes.
we met in 2004, got married in 2006.
Yeah. Yeah.
What were you both doing at the time professionally?
I was working for Chase Manhattan Mortgage. I'm in banking. I've been in banking pretty much my whole life, since like 1995. And so I was working for Chase. I actually gave him my business card to give me a call. And I'm like, that is just ridiculous. I can't even believe that.
Make an appointment.
Yeah,
Come see me.
yeah. Hey, give me a call. That's horrible. Of course, back then you didn't have any social media, or I mean,
even cell phones, really.
Even cell phones
it was
were
rare.
I mean, we still texted and stuff, but
The old Motorola flip phones.
Exactly, exactly. The small phones were in, not the big things.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Get hit.
And he worked at Florida Southern as the head athletic trainer.
Okay.
And so our relationship, one thing with being the head athletic trainer there is he had to be involved with most of the sports during the fall season, and then golf and tennis in the spring. So a lot of our relationship was going to the games so that I could, see him and spend some time with him. So I like sports, so it was fun. Went to a lot of the basketball games, the volleyball games, and
Got to travel too.
Got to travel a little bit with him. So it was good. And from there, you started doing some personal training with Peak Fitness, Doug Tart, and
well, I had. Working there, you have summers off, so you have 2 months of really not much to do, and so
you like to stay busy, apparently.
Yeah, well, my first year of that experience, I was at the beach a lot, and then the next year, I was like, you know what, there could be something done here, and I started doing sports performance training with some of the athletes at Florida Southern College during the summertime, and that sort of went into. A guy by the name of Doug Tart had started a business here in town, a personal training facility, and he asked me to come on board, and so I started doing sports performance with a lot of high school athletes, and that turned into me working with their parents, and then that business built from there, and I'm like, I'm like, you know what, there's something that, that could be, there's a full-time job that could be out of this, and the job at Florida Southern was actually a dual position. I was an adjunct professor in their sports medicine program in the mornings, so I taught some classes. In the afternoons, I would take care of the athletes as their athletic trainer. But like Kim said, you're traveling on the weekends, basically from August until May. You're every Friday, Saturday night, you're either working at the school till 10 o'clock at night, or you're traveling on the road. And which is cool when you're in your 20s and even early 30s, but when you want to get married, have a family, it's a really hard lifestyle.
Sure.
So this gave me the opportunity to be more grounded, I guess.
Yeah.
So you thought, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's true.
Still a lot of hours, but it's here,
I think a lot of people want to own their own business or want to work for themselves because they feel like they're going to have more time.
Yeah.
But based on what we've heard from other business owners in the community, it's actually the opposite.
Yes. So it's not less time. It's just the fact that I get to do everything here. Yeah.
And we have 2 kids, and they get to come here, and it just works out well.
That's great. Yeah, having that autonomy is definitely a plus.
Yeah.
So that's probably one of the benefits. What would you say is the biggest benefit, if it wasn't that already, kind of that flexibility? Are there any other benefits you think of owning your own business?
Well, for this year especially, the flexibility is huge.
Sure.
I currently work for Bank of Central Florida. I'm a commercial lender, and we were really busy in April with PPP loans, helping out businesses, and the kids were at home for doing virtual learning, and Mike had to juggle so much because we had closed down the business. He had to get everything set up in order to get all of our athletes online and get all of their programming to them at home. And it was just, so the flexibility helped so much because, I mean, we were very busy at work and then here, and so, and with the kids at home, it was just crazy.
It was a lot.
Yeah, it was
well,
a
even
lot.
post-COVID, I mean, she's basically an 8 to 5er, right? So she's at her job 8 to 5. I'm able to, come and go with the ebb and flow, and so I'm able to pick kids up, take them there, and then she meets us and that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's been huge. Where at Florida Southern, I was locked in.
Yeah, there was no way.
I'm locked in for 10, 12 hours and cannot go. So
That's huge.
Yeah, and obviously it took some time to have that flexibility, because when I first started here, I was 6 a.m. to 7 p.
Yeah.
It's an investment, very early.
Yeah.
Not even just financial, but personal investment.
Yes.
Yeah. So really, what it comes down to is we have an incredible staff here, and they fortunately allow me to be able to come and go as needed, because they're here. I can trust that they're going to run the business while I'm gone and handle what needs to be handled.
Yeah,
so,
having people you can trust under your belt.
Yeah. I think any business owner will tell you that you're only as good as your staff, and we're very fortunate with who we have here. Yeah.
So can you talk to me a little bit about the evolution, kind of how you started, how you got here now, the blend between the CrossFit and the other services you offer, and the cryotherapy?
Sure.
So we started CrossFit Lakeland in 2008. It was Mike and his best friend Jason, who was also a head athletic trainer at Florida Southern, and myself. And of course, Jason and Mike did all of the background and went and got certified for CrossFit, and they knew that that's what they wanted to do, and that's how we got open. After a few years, Jason had gotten a job in orthopedic sales and was really busy, and we bought his half out. Okay. So from there, we grew. We stayed at that other location until 2 years ago, and that's when we changed our name to Lakeland Athletic Club. And then go ahead and talk about Lakeland Cryo and how we opened that.
So we started the Cryo again about 3 years ago, and the idea or the premise behind it was to take what I had been doing in the past prior to the gym and bring it to the general public. So it's kind of like what happens is, if you were one of my athletes in school and you were hurt or injured or whatever, you were able to walk from your locker room down to the athletic training room and see me for treatment. For tweaks and pulls and whatever it was, you're able to come in and get various treatments that we offered there. So what happens if people like us, were running around Lake Collinsworth and oops, we twist an ankle, or we hurt our shoulder, where do we go? What do we do? Well, you have to go, you got to go see your primary care physician, who writes a script for you to go see an ortho, who writes a script for you to go see a PT. Then you got to go see a chiro, you got to go see a massage therapist. Anyways, you can go around all over Polk County at all these different treatment places. And I wanted a place that functional fitness athletes or your weekend warriors, they can come and experience some of the new age, high-end medical treatments that your pro and college athletes are experiencing on a daily basis. And so that's where this sort of developed, and our bread and butter, if you will, is the cryo sauna. So whole body cryotherapy is what it's called. And so, as I alluded to in a conversation prior, it was invented for rheumatoid arthritis. So the bulk of your I don't go into anything without something that has data and peer-reviewed medical research on it, because other than that, it's just fluff. Okay,
absolutely.
So
I like the fluff.
Yeah. I mean, how many infomercials do you see and you're like, that'll work, and then 5 years later it's like off the market, it's gone, right?
You're right.
Yeah. So I did the research, and the bulk of the research is done on arthritis, and it was super positive in terms of pain relief, decrease of inflammation, better ability to perform ADAs, activities of daily living, or ADLs, So I'm like, all right, this is real. So I went to Tampa a couple times and tried it out myself to see if it was legit.
Yeah, the real thing.
And man, it was night and day in terms of before and after. So yeah, so we invested in the machine and then some other amenities like muscle e-stim, the Normatec leg compression boots, which offer like a massage for the legs. We have vibrating foam rollers that produce heat. We have an in-body body composition machine, which is a high-end body comp machine that'll do percent body fat, lean body mass.
Which is great for Lakeland Athletic Club.
Complements that. It goes so far as to tell you exactly how many pounds of muscle and fat you have on each arm and each leg.
That's really interesting, especially knowing like how much someone weighs. Like two people can weigh the same exact thing and look totally different.
Oh, and their body composition is completely different. Yes.
Well, what's cool is from a medical standpoint. Take for me example, I've had some knee surgeries, so I can go on that machine. It'll say, all right, Mike, your right leg has 1 pound more muscle than your left leg. And like that's statistically significant. So I can say, all right, you need to go into the gym and work on single leg exercises to even out those strengths so that you don't have asymmetries because you don't want.
No, that's how you get
Yes.
uneven hips,
Right.
Yes.
uneven spine. Then
Right.
you have
Leads
to
to
go
a whole
back
mess
to
of
the
problems.
chiropractor.
Yeah. So right. So so our job is to try to keep you away from having to go down that road. And my background at Florida Southern College, fortunately, led to some really nice relationships with some local doctors.
Yeah.
Dr. Padgett being one of them in Winter Haven. He's an orthopedic surgeon. So he helps us with, he'll refer patients here.
That's awesome.
Other doctors will as well too, for the cryotherapy, for the inflammation, post-surgical.
That's really
inflammation.
nice to hear because I found like for me personally, I'm a big fan of acupuncture. So like anything Eastern medicine, I'm immediately like to
Right.
everything.
Yes.
about it.
Sure,
Because
sure.
I find a lot of those traditional Western medicine doctors are a little
Right.
bit like turned off by it and won't recommend it. So it's nice to hear that there are doctors out there who are open to the more natural
Absolutely.
remedies.
Yeah, essentially what you do is if you have an issue, you write a checklist of different things that you can do to take care of it yourself, and you go find places that offer those amenities and you try them out and you make a checklist. Okay, that didn't work, I'm not going back there.
Right.
That worked, I'm going to keep doing that, and so on. So,
And that's it.
so we're hoping that something like this works for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you talk a little bit, you kind of mentioned a little bit earlier off camera, unfortunately, we were talking about the science behind the cryotherapy.
Sure.
Can you talk to us about that again?
Yeah. So essentially, we'll just call it the fight or flight phase. Is sort of what happens. Is your parasympathetic system kind of kicking in, right? So essentially, what you do is when you go into the unit, it's a 3-minute treatment. The cold can vary depending on your level. So we can go from negative 135 to negative 195 degrees. And when you go into that kind of cold, right, your brain doesn't know how long you're in that cold. If you're in that cold for a long period of time, yes, not good, right? So your brain doesn't know that. It doesn't know you're only in it for 3 minutes. So it says, all right, we need to protect. We need to shut systems down to keep things going. So it shunts blood from your arms and your legs, draws it into your core to protect your vital organs. But in 3 minutes you're out and you're back into room temperature and your brain's like, oh, all right, we're good, we're cool. And it shunts all the blood back into your arms and legs. But now it's fresh blood, reoxygenated blood. All right, so that's the idea behind inflammation. So if you have an injured knee or shoulder, you have inflammation that will congeal sort of in that area. And the idea is, let's get that inflammation out. How do you do it? That treatment is an excellent way to take that inflammation and draw it out of the area and bring good new stuff back in.
That's amazing.
Essentially, yeah.
You guys mentioned you had to go to Tampa originally to try out the cryotherapy and learn about it. Are you guys currently the only ones in Lakeland offering the cryotherapy, or is it grown at all in this community?
This particular unit, this is the only one that's in this area and this is what this unit was used for a lot of the bulk of the research that's out there. There is another unit in town. They use a different method and mode, so I can't attest to how they're doing it, how it works. But I can say that we purchased the unit that I was reading the research on.
Okay.
Yeah. And actually, that unit was featured on Shark Tank. So
Oh,
Yeah.
I love Shark
Yeah.
Tank.
any Shark Tank fans out
Oh,
there,
Yeah.
really sold.
this unit was invested in. I can't remember which person invested in it, but yeah.
So kind of going back to the business owner portion of our interview and some of the things that you may pass on to aspiring business owners or new business owners, what would you say is some of the biggest advice you'd give someone who's just starting out owning their own business?
I would say stick to it, because there's gonna be a lot of ups and downs, and it can be worth it, and sometimes it's not gonna be worth it. It's really hard to it's hard to pinpoint something exactly, but
yeah, just do your research, know your market, know your demographic, know your brand, stay true to that brand and your core values, and make sure that your social media, your website, or whatever you're doing to get the word out there, it portrays that daily. Like you don't want to be all over the place.
Right.
You want to really
people to recognize
dial into one thing. And I would say probably the biggest lesson we learned that I would throw out to maybe any new aspiring owners in terms of a brick and mortar place. If you're looking into a brick and mortar place, one thing that I would have changed was start smaller.
Okay.
Yeah, so we started with a large overhead right away. Because I was, I'm sort of like a field of dreams type person.
Go bigger, go home.
If you build it, they will come. And they did, and we did really well. I mean, we have been doing really well. We're one of the few businesses, I would say, that as we started up, we were always in the black. Whereas a lot of businesses are going to be in the red for a while before they get into the black. And we were fortunate enough to really come out in the black and strong. But we could have done better, I think, if we had a smaller model and less overhead.
especially through 2020.
And
because
those unforeseeable things.
Right.
It's good to plan for just in case.
Exactly. It's better to start small and grow.
Right. Yeah, having a brick and mortar in 2020 is definitely a challenge.
So going into 2021, what would you say is some of the, knowing what you know now about the brick and mortar versus some of the virtual offerings that you guys have now, what advice would you give someone who maybe is a new business owner but is looking to like maintain or grow their business in 2021?
I would say to be flexible. Definitely just, I don't know. Pivot. Be able to pivot.
That's sort of the key term these days.
And things are constantly changing, especially in the fitness industry. So, I mean, I know Mike has a lot of things going on, and he tells me all of his ideas, and I see some of them, and I'm like, oh, I think that would be great, and then sometimes I'm like, yeah, I don't know about that. Yeah, exactly. I think you need to work on that one a little more. So, but
you definitely have to be flexible and be able to adapt and change. Don't always be tunnel vision and hard set on one thing. Be able to adapt. And I would say what's been really interesting over this past year, what COVID really, in terms of the fitness genre or field, has sped up is online. So our main competition right now is not necessarily other brick and mortars out there. It's actually the Instagram,
the Instagrammers that
experts
claim that they're fitness experts.
So these days, like if you're attractive and you got a good body,
people will believe anything.
And you throw yourself on Instagram stories doing bicep curls, and you do some glute exercises. It's like, oh, I'm doing it.
Oh, here's a 6-week program. This is what I do, and you're going to look like me in 6 weeks. And
it's like,
I'm amazed at how people actually either like lose weight or get like strong doing the wrong thing, but that you're kind of risking getting hurt if you're not doing things properly.
Yeah, definitely. And that's our main sell here. I mean, our business is coaching, is personalized and small group coaching. So you may be at home trying to do stuff off of the gram or the book, right? But how do you know if you're doing it right? And that type of stuff. So that's where we come in, type of thing. But just flexible adaptation.
Pivot.
No doubt. Yeah, my boyfriend is a certified personal trainer. He doesn't do it yet, like on his own quite. But going back to the Instagram thing, anytime I try a new workout in the gym and he's with me, he's like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
"Oh, I'm trying this new thing I saw on Instagram." "You're doing it wrong." Yeah. So you went, "Oh, you know," and it's true. I never realized the benefit of having someone to show me a proper form, because you can't see what you're doing. You can't see your body, so having someone there is super important.
There's some good knowledge out there. Don't get me wrong on social media, but you really have to know, who is the expert and who's just kind of like, hey, I look good, so I'm going to use my looks to make some money.
Yeah. So you guys mentioned a little bit more towards the beginning of our interview the challenge in maintaining that clientele. What are some of the marketing strategies that you use on social media either to attract new clients or maintain the ones that you have?
You want me to cover that?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
So we've invested quite a bit into a CRM, customer relation management system. So our website is specifically curated towards explaining kind of our why, what we do, and how we can help you. And there's forms on there for you to fill out if you're interested, and that goes into our CRM system where we're able to get right back to them. So if someone fills out a form, it's actually Kim. She gets right back to them within. We promise within 24 hours. Kim is like on the hour.
That's awesome.
And she'll schedule. We do consultations. So if you want to join the gym, I want to meet you. I want to sit down with you. I want to talk about your goals and things like that, so that we can find the right fit for you here. So that our CRM system. Our social media, I'm not super great at it by any stretch. I'm fair at it at best, but I do our Instagram and Facebook, and I try to tell a story about our brand, the types of. I try to tell a story about the people that we have in the gym, right? And so one of the reasons behind the rebrand was a lot of people. If CrossFit really got popular. But when we first started, it was a garage fitness type of underground, hardcore,
Right.
And then it got real popular, and it's actually on TV now as a sport. But what you see on there are these, really, fit, super jacked people, and everyone thinks that that's
intimidating.
Yes,
that's
it's intimidating.
What you see in a CrossFit gym, and
But that's not our clientele.
It's
Yeah.
young professionals, moms and dads,
It's people just trying to be healthy.
So I want to show that it's normal people doing extraordinary things, right? Things that you normally might not or think you could do, but you'll do here, and you'll be coached up on how to do it, and you'll be able to perform it in a safe manner. So that is where our strategy is at in terms of marketing, is to make sure that we show that message that it's, hey, the hardest thing to do is to walk through our doors. After that, it's like, wow, I should have came here a long time ago, type of deal. And so that's
we do hear that a lot.
I love that. Well, thank you both so much for your time. It's been such a pleasure meeting you and learning a little bit about you and your business. So we'll be sure to give you guys a follow, and hopefully you're
very good.
Follow Lakeland business owners and reshare some of the content that comes out of today's interview.
We'll do. Awesome.
Thank you
guys for taking the time to sit down.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.